the community aspect kind of like spreads, I think. And once people see that the community, that people are acting in a community and how it is beneficial, I think people kind of gravitate towards that, not only because they see the benefits of it, but then also they're now part of that community.
They can't help it.
Yeah.
They get drug in there.
This looks fun. Okay, I want to do this. But like, I don't even drink coffee, but now I found myself in the coffee shop.
We are sitting down today talking with Matt Keebler from Keebler Coffee. What? Hold on, it's a different name. Keebler
Coffee Roasters.
Coffee Roasters.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's interesting. It's interesting too, because that's kind of where the whole thing started, I think, for you, is you began to develop a passion for roasting coffee.
Yep.
Was it just for yourself at first?
Yeah.
Or did you like invite your friends into the pick?
Well, I was just roasting for myself at first, just out of a little hot air popcorn popper for myself and my wife. And then my buddy gave me a bag of green coffee to roast for him. And I was like, okay, well, hey, you know what? I'm already roasting for myself. Let's roast for him. And so I was just kind of giving it to him. And
so what was it about it? What was the thing that you grabbed a hold of? Was it like the chemistry of the thing, the nuance of what you drank, the product at the end? Or, I mean, what were you most fascinated with, Matt?
A little bit of both. I mean, a lot of it, I come from the tech industry. So a lot of it kind of was the technicality aspect of it as well, too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a good blend of food and technical knowledge and an experience that you get as well, too. So you kind of put together the whole, what you're going to roast, how you're going to roast, the coffee, and then what the result is that you're going to get out of it in the end result too. Yeah. And it's kind of can be a surprise too. So it's not like computers where you know kind of what you're going to get. You could put in all this effort and map all this stuff out, and then you get something completely different out of it. So it has a fun, like, dynamic aspect to it that I like too. So it's the technical and kind of the experimental and kind of the surprise aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then once you get into it, I just know a little bit, but it seems like then there's a whole world of coffee-loving, coffee-drinking people who know exactly what the beans, where they come from, how they're processed, where they're grown, what climate, all that stuff. That all that's a whole nother world, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So on the roasting aspect of it, people will just geek out like nothing else. So there is all like, the other day I did a coffee roast for someone as like a contract, and I was over at my buddy's doing roasting. He's got a roasting facility, and he asked me what the moisture content of the coffee was. And I said, hey, I don't know. I didn't really check. I could contact the purveyor, and he busts out a machine that tested the moisture content of the coffee right then and there in like 2 seconds. Yeah. And so there's some people that geek out a lot on the technical aspects of the growing, how it's grown, how it's processed, altitude it's grown at, moisture content, all these different factors to it.
The personality of the person who grew the coffee.
Kind of. It can get into that, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people just go visit the place that the coffee beans come from, don't they?
They do, yeah. No, it's a ton of fun. And that is a whole other aspect of it, too, is like the story of the coffee farmer and the processor. Sometimes it's been a family farm for generations, and they've dealt with turmoils like they had to replant their whole farm. And other times it's just a new up-and-comer who went to school for coffee and knows everything about coffee, and they just started a new farm like a year or two ago.
Yeah, that's crazy. That whole world opens up with doors wide open. I mean, you can walk in and find out. I've had conversations with people, and they've told me more about coffee than I know about most of the things that I'm really passionate about, for sure.
Yeah.
So, so this is just how many different varieties of coffee do you have in the store right now? Because you do that in a way that's different than most people. Most people have like 5 or 6 different sources of coffee.
Yeah.
How many do you have on the shelf right now?
Oh man, at least 10, 8 to 12 at any point in time. I think at one point we had like 14 different coffees on the shelf.
That's crazy. And why 14? Is it just because you're interested in what they taste like?
Yeah, pretty much. I do like trying different things. I also like presenting a lot and kind of pushing or kind of showcasing the fact that it is an agricultural product. Yeah. And there's a lot of different types there. And there's a lot, and it is a seasonal product. So we'll change it up. As soon as we run out of the amount that we buy, and we don't buy like very large amounts. One, we're a smaller roaster. Yeah. Two, it's just fun to go through different coffees. And so say we might have, say, a Mexico coffee, which tastes the exact same as like a Colombian coffee or Nicaragua coffee. So sometimes when I start to get low, I'll now buy the other one to make sure we have 7 stocks. So sometimes we'll have a lot of different coffees. As one's going out, we're bringing other ones in to kind of fill those voids. And sometimes it just lines up where we have a ton of different coffees. Yeah. Sometimes it can be a little overwhelming though.
I've walked in with people and they go, I need to get some coffee. And I go like, what kind do you, there's 2 that I really love. And this one's the freshest right now. So I'm going to grab that one. Yeah. Like, that's the way they buy coffee. Yeah. They really know what they want. They really know what they're after. So how that developed, it seems like, from what I've heard, a lot through farmers market and your exposure to people there. How did that start for you?
I love the farmers market. The farmers market we have is so great. It's helped me the entire time through this journey. So I was roasting for myself and for my buddy. And then I figured, hey, you know what? Maybe other people in town would like similar styled coffee. So I applied for the farmer's market. I had a little tiny roaster, much smaller than I have right now. It did about a half a bag each batch. Each batch was about 10 minutes, so it took me about 20 minutes to do a bag of coffee. And I just applied for the farmer's market, not knowing really anything. Yeah. And they came back, they said, oh, hey, we're going to do this certification. You're going to need this and this and this. So I was like, okay, well, I guess there's a little bit more to it. But I jumped through all the hoops. I got all the required health permitting and stuff like that. And then I just decided to put out some bags at the farmer's market and test the market out there. Yeah. So I started doing that. And the first year, it went pretty well, to the point where
You were surprised.
I was very surprised. Yeah. I had no idea what to expect. I kind of expected to just put it out there and do it for a couple of months and say, oh, hey, no one's buying this. You know, people want to go to the grocery store. There's some other roasters in town, coffee shops in town that they can buy from. Yeah. So my expectations were set pretty low on that. But we did well enough to the point where I invested in a little bit larger roaster. And then kind of took off from there. So I was doing the farmer's market. It was a really great avenue for me to be able to get the product out there and see if people enjoyed it. Right. And when I got the larger roaster, I was actually able to produce enough coffee to actually sell at the farmer's market and make it worthwhile.
And then at some point, you opened a storefront.
Yeah.
A coffee shop.
That kind of just fell in my lap. So I was doing the farmer's market, and so I was kind of going around town to see if anyone wanted to serve our coffee. And Hearth Coffee had been in where we are right now. Yeah. And I had been approaching them about buying our roasted coffee to serve at their shop. And those are a lot of like relationship building. So I was dropping coffee off and following up, say, oh, hey, what did you think about the coffee? Here's another one to try. So I was just kind of going back and doing that for a couple of months. And then they just randomly hit me up and said, hey, Matt, would you like to buy the business? So I was,
I didn't know that was a thing.
I know. Yeah, I didn't either. So they kind of just mentioned that to me, and we looked into it. And since I already had a lot of the equipment on my own, it really, unfortunately, didn't make that great of a financial. Wasn't good financially for us to buy the business, so we ended up just actually taking over the lease and taking over the space there. I'd already done some coffee stuff for like some pop-ups. So I had a bunch of brewers. I already had the roaster. We already had an espresso machine. So yeah, it was a pretty easy to get in there and get set up. I think we were able to get in there and get set up within 2 weeks of taking over the lease. Yeah, which is
by the way. You don't do this by yourself.
Oh, absolutely not. I would be run ragged. Would be totally impossible to do by myself. Yeah.
So you and your wife.
Yes. Yeah. So my wife, she works for the Salvation Army, and she has a great job, which basically supports us doing this coffee project. Yeah. Without her, we would not be able to do this at all. Period.
Because you may not make tons of money Making coffee for people.
No, there is not a lot.
Nobody
of
drinks that much coffee.
No one does drink that much coffee. Yeah, the coffee industry is a pretty low profit margin industry. So it's a lot of volume sales. And so, yeah, so I mean, a lot of it that we're doing is because we enjoy coffee.
Yeah.
We enjoy being around people. We enjoy having a great space for our employees. I was given a good opportunity when I was younger, when I was about 14 years old, to gain some experience in the IT world. And that kind of really opened my eyes to giving other people the ability to progress. And especially people who are younger too, to give them an opportunity to learn like a trade or something like that. So I really wanted to be able to have that same space for us at the cafe, to give people opportunities to have a good space to work at, the ability to grow as much as you can in the coffee industry, and just to have a good place to work at. And we've been very, very lucky to have great employees, great people surrounding us to help us out with doing our project.
When did you add employees? How long ago?
Ashley was working at Hearth prior to us taking over, and we hired her on within probably the first month.
Yeah.
And we would have probably had to shut up shop if we had not been able to hire her.
Well, the other side of that is you've had no turnover.
We've had
since you started.
We've had very
That's amazing.
We've had very minimal turnover. Yeah.
Which shows that proves that you care about your employees and care about what you're doing and the way you're doing it, and you've given them a love for the same thing you had love for.
Absolutely,
which is really cool.
And I mean, some of that I feel comes from experience in working in bad jobs, also good jobs as well too. And a priority for me in working at a lot of places was to have a good work environment. And so that's probably my number one priority is to be able to have a great space, because your employees are what make your business. Yeah. They're the ones that are there helping people. And if they're in a bad mood or having a bad day, that doesn't behoove anyone. Our business doesn't behoove them, doesn't behoove the customers. So doing our best. And hey, it is a service industry, so not every day is going to be great.
No, and not every patron is easy to get along with.
No, that is absolutely true.
But for somebody who's been using coffee shops as an office for the last 30 plus years, I am really grateful that you exist. And also the other coffee shops in town. I mean, I go to all of them, but I love walking into Keebler and having them know what I drank and write it down, or even in Ashley's case, begin to make it before I even sit down.
I'm pretty sure Ashley doesn't need to write your drink down.
No. So that kind of feel that it's more of a community, that they know you and you know them. You can see when they're having a bad day. You can see when they're dealing with a rough patron.
Yeah.
So you can be there for each other. But it really is a community thing, and that really, I think that people here in Longview Kelso get that feel because it would be different if you were making tons of money and brought in lots of revenue for the city, but it's not that way. That's not the reason why you're doing it. But you're actively involved in the community in so many different ways, Matt, and that it comes through because of your participation in things that are not just about Keebler Coffee.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel that the coffee shop is a good like starting point for building community and just having community things happen positively for our community. I mean, the cafe is a great space for people to come into, and coffee always draws people in. Yep. But yeah, I also try to be more involved in the community as well too, like with the Salvation Army, and trying to do whatever I can to try to help people in any way. I mean, I'm also an avid biker too. I enjoy promoting cycling in our community as well. Yeah. And also like with the Salvation Army, with doing community outreach and trying to help people through that avenue as well too.
You guys are really active. Yeah. Your wife had me at, you rode your bike today? We'll give you a bike discount. Really early on, like. Yeah, I'll ride my bike all the time. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, I rode bikes and I commuted on bikes and I ride bikes still for fun a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm a very avid cyclist and I love promoting cycling in our community too.
Yeah.
So I like to see the positive changes that we've been having in the community for cycling and things like that too. And I rode a lot, and I know cycling in cities is not always the easiest.
No.
Cars kind of don't really see or want to acknowledge cyclists. So it is very difficult, but also promoting that and trying to get more people involved with that, I think it is better for everyone too.
Well, it's made a difference. I mean, like, there are some plans in the very near future to add bike paths in the city, to develop some. You're already involved in developing trails off road and stuff like that for mountain biking and stuff. So yeah, there are some things that are happening that are going to make it hopefully easier to bike in Longview. Right now, sometimes it's a little hairy.
Yeah, it is. Well, and I know we did, there's a couple of the rides that you've done, and those are great. I really think those are beneficial for our community. And I mean, I think most kids already ride bikes or have a bike or something. And so I think also the getting families together to ride bikes, doing larger group rides. Yeah. I mean, I've been in some areas where they have every Friday or Saturday, they just have a group party ride where people just put lights on their bike and they ride around and things like that. And I mean, it is another good communal aspect that brings people together.
Yeah. So what's the future look like? What do you want to do? Is there anything that you want to do that you haven't done yet in coffee?
In coffee, I mean, I do like doing the sharing coffees and educational stuff like that as well. I don't know. I mean, kind of continue doing what we're doing with promoting better quality coffee, getting people to experience different coffees.
This area is unique, the Northwest.
Yeah.
I mean, you leave this area and you realize nobody cares about this thing that you love. Nobody really pays much attention. There's Starbucks, and that's it.
Yeah.
In other places, or maybe one or two local places. But we live in an area where coffee is appreciated.
It is, yeah.
It's got to feel good for you.
It does really feel good. No, and there is a good coffee community here too. Not only people that drink coffee, but also coffee people that are in the industry as well too. I mean, we have Portland and Seattle, which are also huge coffee places. But even locally, there's a guy who is one of the top roasters in the world right now doing educational stuff.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he built.
He doesn't promote himself very well.
Oh, he does not promote himself at all. In fact, actually, I tell him he's doing a horrible job at promoting himself. Because actually, we were talking the other day, and he does these boxes for coffee roasters, and we were talking about it and about how much he's charging, how he's shipping these things out, and he's like, I ran the numbers, and I don't make any money on this at all. But it's because he loves it. He loves experimenting with coffee. He loves trying new things. And he's got a lab that he's built, which has about 3 or 4 different roasters in there, and he just experiments with coffee.
Wow. Right here,
yeah. Yeah. And so it's fun. We are in a very unique area for coffee and for understanding coffee and just trying new things and promoting different aspects of coffee, because there's so many different aspects of it, from just hey, I want a cup of dark roasted coffee, to, oh, hey, I want this unique process from this one family farm on this one side of the hill, this specific lot, and was harvested at this time of year and fermented for a specific period of time or something like that. Yeah. So it is really cool to be in here. And especially again, for me to have the opportunity to be able to do something like we're doing here and have it be successful is just great. I'm really happy.
Well, rarely can you take your passion and make it profitable enough to continue to do it. I mean, most of the time you run in the hole. And so and there's a culture here to support it, which is, I think it's got to be really encouraging for you that you're not alone in this. I mean, you can literally start with a roaster and you can build a business.
Yeah, that's kind of what we did.
There's a lot of people who are interested in it. A lot of people with entrepreneurial mindsets that want to just launch into something. They want to see if they can do it.
Yeah.
And you see it happening around town.
You do, yeah. There's a lot of other smaller businesses too in town that I've seen that are doing well, and it's fun to see people trying new things
Yeah.
and trying to do stuff and being successful at it as well too.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I'm really happy that we have such a community of people that are willing to put in the effort to try their passion and see how that works out.
I was at Storyboard the other day for the first time. I hadn't been there. And there was a new owner who is a French trained pastry chef.
Yep.
And
She's phenomenal.
she made me a coffee that was awesome.
Did she?
And like I'd never been in this place, let alone, and she just is the same way. She just loves what she's doing.
Yeah.
She loves the energy of community, and she loves being able to help produce that in a small community like ours. She's been here for a while. Really neat lady.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, no, she's been great. We partner with them. They actually serve our coffee.
Well, no wonder it tastes so good, Matt.
So they serve our coffee, and then we use their chocolate for most of our drinks. And they do some chocolate bars for us as well too.
Oh, very
so yeah,
cool.
they're great. We love them over there. Trying so many new things too.
Yeah.
They're definitely trying a little bit more experimental than us. They're trying so many things, which is great, which is fun because they have so many fun things that they have going on there.
Yeah.
It's really great. Yeah.
I don't think people realize that this community is the links that exist between people in the community where they're doing things with and for each other. And I love the fact that we're in that kind of a community where you can have those kind of relationships. And I want to do whatever I can do to connect those people with the community, because I think it's a beneficial for us in the long run.
Yeah.
We're going to be stronger. We're going to be more willing to take risks and do things that seem like crazy ideas, but who knows?
Yeah, no,
You could end up with a coffee shop.
yeah. Well, it's interesting because we were, when we first moved, I had a good chunk of the equipment. We're like, oh, hey, let's start a coffee shop. We had a couple things here and there that didn't really pan out, and then this just dropped in our lap, and we're like, okay, I guess we're gonna do this now.
Yeah.
Like we weren't even really prepared. It was kind of just like a dream, and it's like, well, hey, the roasting stuff's kind of fun. It was kind of just like a passion, little like hobby passion thing that I was doing, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, this is getting real.
Yeah.
and it was awesome. It was great to be able to have that opportunity to do that in here with the community too, because the community is definitely a big part of why we love doing what we're doing here. To have the community of people that are coming in, also the other community of like producers, like most of our pastries we're trying to find from people that are local here, and just building that community as well too, and just tapping into that. It's great. Like we have such a great community here, and I think you're right. There's a lot of people that don't quite see it or understand it or know too much about the community that like some of the producers have been building up here too.
Yeah. And you made a transition recently where you actually trained another roaster to roast with you, which is
absolutely.
Bethany is just loving it. And
she loves it. She's great.
And she was one of the baristas. It still is one of the baristas, but you added her as a roaster, and that's got to be pretty cool for her to have somebody share their passion with you.
Yeah, that is something that I am really so happy about. All of our employees, I've mentioned, hey, if you're ever interested in roasting, let me know. At first, she said, oh, nah, well, maybe, nah, and she didn't ever bring it up again, and I didn't really bug her about it. And then all of a sudden, one day, she's like, yeah, hey, Matt, I'd be willing to learn how to roast. And I was like, hey, that's great. It's great on so many levels too. First, there's a very big lack of women roasters in the industry. Yes, it's pretty heavy in white male in the roasting industry. So it was great to have her be interested in it, and two, it's great for her to learn a skill set like that too.
Yeah.
I kind of feel again like that was kind of the opportunity that was given to me early on, and to be able to reciprocate that and show her how to roast. I mean, she's doing a good chunk of the roasting right now.
That's so cool.
And it's so great because it's a good skill set for her to learn, and she's learning more about the coffee. She's learning more about the roasting aspects, and so she's gaining a ton of knowledge that. I mean, hey, she might say, oh, this isn't for me, but she might also say, hey, this is a great job. I do love the industry. I want to continue roasting. And hey, if she moves on and goes roast for some big national roaster, and hey, more power to her. But
Yeah.
I'm really happy to be able to share that with her and kind of give that ability to someone else that has shown initiative on it too, for sure.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you for the investment you've made into the community, Matt. I mean, I love the fact that you've accomplished what you dreamt about doing, but also I love the fact that you're doing it not just for yourself, but there's a sense that, I'm doing this to pull people into something, not necessarily to stand out and shine. That's all good, but the community part of it is so, it's so compelling for people. I think once you get a taste of community, which I'm kind of a community freak.
Yeah.
Once you get a taste of it, it's like there's nothing else that brings you the kind of satisfaction that we have when we get to do things together.
Absolutely.
It's just the best.
Yeah. No, I mean, it is. I mean, rather than showcase myself out of it, having other people showcase other people. I mean, then it also gives me time to just kick back and relax. Well, they're doing really well in doing the things that are communal and building up that community, because that's more long term. Because again, as you said earlier, I would not, like, if it was just me, I'd be so burnt out. So building that community, I think is so important for me too, because I can't take everything on.
Yeah.
And I know I can't take everything on.
Yeah.
So hey, I'll take on the aspects that I can. And if my position is to help build the community, then hey, so be it. That's great. Because then other people are learning valuable skills that they can use and they can take with them, whether it's with me or with anyone else.
Yeah.
And that also makes them feel better and makes them want to pursue doing that even more, not for themselves, but also for the community too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the community aspect kind of like spreads, I think. And once people see that the community, that people are acting in a community and how it is beneficial, I think people kind of gravitate towards that, not only because they see the benefits of it, but then also they're now part of that community.
They can't help it.
Yeah.
They get drug
like,
into it.
This looks fun. Okay, I want to do this. But like, I don't even drink coffee, but now I found myself in the coffee shop.
Hanging out with my friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you, Matt. You're a huge
you.
blessing to this community.
Thank you for recognizing. I really appreciate it. And I mean, for myself, I would love to see. I really love to see a community thrive rather than me capitalize on a community and watch them flounder, for sure. Because it's better for everybody. It makes me feel better, and it also is better for. I feel it's better for me in the long run, because now there's a great community of people that, again, you're saying earlier, we can tap into, that are, hey, I need some help with something, or hey, can we do this for me, or hey, you need help with this, let me help you do that. I think it's really great. I really appreciate that a lot, and I appreciate our community too, because we have a great community, and it is good to be able to see them coming together and see them working well together, for sure.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being part of the community, and you yourself are also a big part of bringing the community together as well, for sure. You definitely are playing a big role in that too.
Oh, thanks, Matt.
So I appreciate you too.